Okay guys, I wanted to move on and show you how to do the hair. So we did the ear. I actually didn't put the other ear on because my hair is going to be covering it. So remember, as long as you have all your features graded, you can actually take the ears off if your person has a lot of hair, and it might kind of mess it up a little bit. I've already rolled out a couple of slabs just to kind of help me with the hair. And remember, whenever you roll out these slabs, you can make them slightly thinner than we normally do. So normally, you know, we're at the 1/2 inch, so you can take the thickness sticks off and actually roll it out just a little bit thinner when you're done. So I went ahead and I started, and I kind of drew in where her hairline would be. So kind of coming in right here, going around the ear. Remember, even girls, it's not really sideburns, but we do have a little bit of hair kind of coming down here on the side, and then we'll be coming here on the back. You can draw a straight line, or you can actually kind of start to score it. I was actually going to score it so that I can add that hair right on there. Now, one of the things that I noticed in the picture that I have of Mulan is that her hair seems like very high up here on top. So if I just lay the slabs right on top of her head, I feel like it's just going to not really give the look that I want it to. So I'm going to put some paper towels in there. And remember, it doesn't really matter if we have air bubbles or if it's too thick or anything like that right now, because we're going to be going through the back of the head and hollowing this all out anyways. So I have 2 paper towels here. So these are just like your paper towels that we have in the classroom, and using the same technique that we used before for the armatures, I just kind of rolled it up so one side's smooth, and then I did another one. So probably if you have paper towels at home, you can do the same thing. So I'm going to put a little bit of slip just kind of on the edges. We're not actually going to be slipping and scoring it right up here because that's where my paper towels are going to be. So again, remember, you score and then you slip, and then we'll be sticking the clay on there and then smoothing it out. You can see I've added a little bit of clay here in the front already. Okay, so this is going, and I know it looks kind of weird, but it's going to be just like that, okay? And then I'm going to be putting the clay over the top of it. So I'm going to take my piece of clay here, and she happens to have a part right in the middle, so I'm trying to kind of stick with that. So I'm trying to kind of smear this in, and even this seems a little bit thick. I almost feel like I could have went a little bit thinner. Okay, I'm just going to kind of tear out a little bit around the ear. I haven't decided if I'm going to leave that ear or not. Just kind of smoothing it in a little bit. And then I'm going to start wrapping this around. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to cut off just a little excess right here because I'm trying to keep, she has a part right in the middle. Yours might be on the side. Okay, so I'm going to kind of do the same thing right here. Smoothing that down. This side she doesn't have the ear, so I don't have to worry about it. I do want to try and keep that hairline a little bit though, so I'm just going in here with my fingers, trying to keep that. And I'm also trying to keep the part in the middle. Okay. One side's a little bit bigger than the other, but we can just kind of pat that out. Okay, so that looks pretty good for kind of the initial, see if I can show it to you a little bit better. There we go. Just for the initial shape of the top, but now she's got lots of long hair. So now we have to add on the rest of it. So I've got some shorter pieces here, so I'm going to start with this. And I'm actually going to kind of just round it in a little bit. And I'm just kind of placing it right now, just to kind of see where I want it. Maybe I'll cut the edge a little bit. Just kind of thinking about what it looks like and looking at my picture too. Okay, so you can kind of see where I added that on. I haven't slipped and scored it yet. I'm just kind of laying it on there first. So I'll go ahead and I'll do this side and you can see me work on it a little bit better. So I'm going to cut this off, just kind of keeping it a little straighter. Actually kind of like that little piece of clay right there, so I might leave that. Okay, so I like that, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score that and smear that in. So I'm just going to gently take that off. It's going to mess up my ear, but that's okay. Okay, so press it in there and smear it in. You might also slip and score it onto the body. That's just extra support. Okay, so I've got kind of a nice outline now to kind of show that to you. And that side's looking pretty good, but I got a giant hole in the back, so we got to cover that. So we'll smear this in a little bit better. And then I have another slab over here. So again, I'm just gonna kind of lay it on there, see what it looks like, and then I'll go back and kind of press all this stuff in and slip and score it. So I'm going to add a little more fullness over here. Again, we're not worrying about we're not worrying about it being too thick right now, but we do want to make sure that we slip and score it good, and we'll be hollowing it out after. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of press that in. I'm going to give her a little bit of a wave. Even though her hair is straight, and the picture that I have, it has a little bit of a wave to it. So I'm going to show a little bit of that. Remember, we're going to be hollowing it out, so don't do too much texture and design and everything on the hair right now. Once we get it all on and we've got the back of the head hollowed out, then we can go back and we can do some more of that stuff. Okay. And again, I always keep going back and kind of getting that hairline right here in front too. So just kind of cleaning that out. Now we're not going to be hollowing much right here, so you could go back and do a little more detail right around the face. And again, mine's got that part, so look for things like that. If you have real curly hair, you could start with something like this, and then you could make coils. And they could be big or little or whatever, and then you could kind of curl them up, and you could add stuff like this on, kind of smear it in. So if you can imagine adding a bunch of little pieces like that, it will give you a nice kind of curly look. But even if it's just kind of slightly wavy, you know, just adding something like that in just gives it a little bit more dimension. And then we'll be going on and we'll be cutting the back of the head out, okay? All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more hair and then we'll talk a little bit about clothing.